Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, comrades all both home and the diaspora. This now the golden voice of the APC Encyclopeadia the Brittannicca, the socio-political analyst, the voice of the voiceless, the whistleblower, the lion of the social media, the regional publicity secretary, Southern Region, under the ticket of the mighty, indomitable All People's Congress Party. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, fellow listeners all over the globe, as Uno say, the Encyclopedia Media always embark on civic education for continue for educate, inform, sensitize, conscientize, and raise awareness to we people that are mamas alone on daily happenings and on burning issues. So una stay tuned, una stay fixed, una stay blessed, una stay connected to the Encyclopedia Media, for una listening pleasure is absolutely guaranteed. Thank God today, now Tuesday, the 10th of June, 2025. We topic today, ladies and gentlemen, is based on two words, we now wisdom and arbitration. As the English adage goes, they say the age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. Ladies and gentlemen, the stone where the builder refused today don't be the head cornerstone. People that may say Dr. Samura Mati Wilson Kamara not a politician, but not a technocrat. But today, Dr. Samura Kamara don't shock the unbelieving Thomases, the critics, the political antagonists and saboteurs that in command both in a politician at the same time in a technocrat, we make him become a techno-politician ever in the political history of Mama Salone. Papa Biobin say he beat Dr. Samara Mati Wilson Kamara in the June 24, 2023 presidential election by giving Dr. Samara Mati Wilson Kamara two uppercuts, meaning he be Habub and the Papa Southeast bunch of electoral thieves who then call themselves ECSL, and the SLPP Pauper Kangaroo Judiciary, which they call the Judiciary of the Republic of Sierra Leone. We for thief the election, APC go na court, automatically the judiciary for go through the case out of court for lack of evidence, automatically BO impose himself on the people of the Republic of Sierra Leone. But unfortunately for BO, the two upper courts, Ifela, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean communists all. So, we say be Habub, and the man shows. But the techno-politician, when His Excellency, the President-elect Dr. Samura Mati Wilson Kamara defeated with wisdom and patriotism by using the tripartite committee, we name as the Agreement for National Unity as a professional and diplomatic rocket launcher propelling machine gun. We Dr. Samara Mati Wilson Kamara used for topple BO and the SLPP state looters government and then partners in crime when the APC sell out reckless leadership. The most disappointing and disappointment to the people of Sierra Leone, now the APC legal team, we ignorant on what they call international arbitration. But thank God, forget somebody like lawyer Rashid Dumbuya, Esquire, of Legal Link, we study law, read law, understand law, and they interpret law without any fear or favor. Ladies and gentlemen, he know what in a treaty, he know what in arbitration, and he know what in legal implications. We don't see educated fools then they say, now only courts they overturn elections and not to the tripartite. Dr. Matthew Wilson Kamara used wisdom. He refused for go to court and choose another means for fight for in rights. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all recall, when the APC been boycott governance, BO we been the address in SLPP parliamentarian then, he say he don't set up a committee where they look on what went wrong in the June 24, 2023 multi-tier elections in the Republic of Sierra Leone and he don't select in vice president when Mohamed Julde Jallo for head that committee. But thankfully for the people of Sierra Leone, the outgoing United States ambassador, he condemned this instant. He said Julde Jallo no go be a footballer, he be a referee. Julde Jallo, now a player in the June 24, 2023 election, he no go be a judge back on that matter day. So thank God for the outgoing American ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, we say he don't go be a player and a referee at the same match at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, so the dead but alive APC CEO 001, when I'm in Kailo Mansari, and he sell out executive there, then be want the matter for settler in-house, na salon. Let you let yellow for lead, so that waiting them plan if for be. But Dr. Samra Matthew Kamara refused and asked for independent arbiter. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the reason why people then say, we go meet Madabio then talk, Dr. Samra Matthew Kamara don't sell out. Ladies and gentlemen, but that meet we then go meet with Madabio. Now they Paupabio authorized the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, when a commission for peace enacted by an act of parliament for facilitate the peace agreement between the government of Sierra Leone and Dr. Samura Kamara and the international community. Then on the side, we then call the ECOWAS, the African Union, and the Commonwealth as independent arbiter. So the agreement then facilitated by the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, headed by the chairman of the Peace Commission, when a Reverend Shodanke Elogima Johnson, we also double as the director or the country director for the New Harvest Global Ministries. We then go, Nabintimani, they all agree and form a three-way leadership, we then call tripartite. So the SLP Power State Looters Government of Sierra Leone, the All People's Congress Party, and the international community. Finally, they form that organizations they we then call the tripartite, three-way leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately for Power Papio, ladies and gentlemen, due to in political arrogance and in professional dishonesty, after he done politically entangled himself in the acts, if he tripartite get result due to in grandiosity, and he not be see the trap, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all both home and the diaspora. Only lawyer Rashid Dumbuya of Legal Link saw it coming. All the political rogues there and the exploitative bunch of thieves there, including the APC legal team, they were legally blinded due to the hate, hypocrisy, and brown enveloping mentality, and the hate we then get for Dr. Samra Matiwisi Kamara. So the arbiter they make sure say, ladies and gentlemen, they come with international elections expert, international co-chair, when a Serafin Wakana, with an international judge for head the tripartite committee secretariat, when an Australian judge, we then called Kate Sullivan. The United States sent the United States representative to the United Nations, when Ambassador Linda Thomas, with 1.5 million United States dollar for can facilitate the work of the tripartite committee. Ladies and gentlemen, now an international shame and mockery for the useless APC leadership, where they say, "Look, let's go the June 24, 2023 election and move on to 2028," as if now they fund the June 24, 2023 multi-tier elections, ladies and gentlemen. While the international community now then dish out 10 million United States dollar to the ECSL for the conduct of the June 24, 2023 multi-tier election. So I not be know this leadership here, waiting at the young org money, waiting daddy not to butcher, not to wanna spend money per election. Then when they go sit down, say when they let's go to 2028. Rubbish, ladies and gentlemen. So the international community, they be only interested on what we call Resolution 3, Then I for examine the June 24, 2023 electoral cycle and also for look on to previous elections 2018, 2012 and 2007. This is not the reason why they invite Dr. Christina Top, when I've been the Chief Electoral Commissioner, we conduct the 2007 and 2012 election respectively, and they also invite Ufa Ali Conte, we conduct the 2018 election, and then go ask them the modus operandi where they take conduct the elections there. So they say nothing about election is secret. Only waiting secret about election. Now where they go cast your secret ballot. Because Mohammed Humamwe Ajampi Kone, we conspire with Bio for thief election in say election result, now classified document. Now I make the invite. Then two commissioners, then yeah, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans and the tripartite committee. This is not just a background. Now let me educate to people there how Dr. Samara Matiwisi Kamara used dialogue out of court arbitration for win the fight for electoral justice. We very soon it will be addressed as His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, ladies and gentlemen, through what we call international arbitration. But we listeners and Kiwan know what's in arbitration. The noun arbitration, it comes to the English language via the Latin word we then call arbitrary, meaning for judge. In English arbitration, now both the process for use an arbiter for settle the dispute and the act of that arbiter for make a judgment. Waiting arbitration mean? Arbitration is a procedure in which a dispute is submitted by agreement of the parties to one or more arbitrators then for make a binding decision on the dispute. In choosing arbitration, the parties they opt for provide resolution procedure instead of going to court. Waiting at the meaning of international arbitration for we listeners then. International arbitration, the method of dispute resolution whereby the parties then they agree for get the dispute resolved by one or more private individual is that the arbitrators rather than by a court of law. So international arbitration, they provide a mechanism for resolve disputes there, ladies and gentlemen, where they arise within that framework there. International arbitration, now we get a clear definition. Now a dispute resolution mechanism wherein parties then they agree for let them settle the disputes, let them resolve by one or more private individual or institutions that we call arbitrators rather than a national court when an out of court agreement, ladies and gentlemen. So what's in the process? The parties then they agree for submit the dispute to the arbitration, often through an arbitration clause in a contract or agreement. That was the reason why the agreement for national unity was established with 8 resolutions. The advantage of arbitration, the neutral forum. Arbitration, they provide a neutral venue for resolve disputes. Waiting on the flexibility of arbitration, the parties then they customize the arbitration process for suit that you need, including for choose the arbitrators then, the applicable law and the seat of arbitration. Waiting on the enforceability of arbitration. The arbitral awards, they're often easy for enforce than court judgment. The enforceability here, now the findings and the recommendations of the tripartite committee then say shall be actionable and implementable. That's resolution 6 of the agreement for the national unity. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. The privacy of arbitration. Arbitration proceedings then generally then confidential, unlike public courts then proceedings. This is not the reason why we get a secret transition of power due to the privacy of international arbitration. So fellow Sierra Leoneans, the battle has been won. ladies and gentlemen. We get commercial arbitration, we get investment treaty arbitration, we get interstate arbitration, then we get electoral dispute resolution arbitration. Now, the key consideration they will for consider in arbitration: agreement for arbitrate. The parties therefore agree for arbitrate, where usually they done through an arbitration clause in their agreement. Number two, the arbitral award. The decision of the arbitrators is final and binding on the parties. Three, the enforcement. The decision of the arbitrators is final, he actionable, he implementable, he enforceable, he acceptable and indisputable, and a conformity. So international arbitration, now a method for resolve dispute between parties often states through a neutral third party, we then call it arbitrator, instead of a national court based on agreed upon rules. This is the wisdom where Dr. Samara Matthew Kamara used for topple the HLPP power we hijack and manipulate the kangaroo judiciary for win the battle of electoral justice, ladies and gentlemen. Because if Samara been going to court no more, and pampo, therefore just throw the case out of court for lack of evidence. Now I make Mohammed Kone no agree for certify the result, he no agree for publish the result, he no agree for gazette result. So you go to court, you don't get evidence. Oh wow. So the age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. Why international arbitration? International arbitration, they ensure a neutral decision maker when a tribunal and they eliminate the risk of the other party for get home court advantage. Waiting at the main purpose of arbitration. Arbitration, they embodies a multifaceted approach we aim for foster efficiency, fairness, and impartiality in the resolution of dispute outside the traditional court system. Without an arbitrator, arbitrators they're responsible for settle dispute between two parties, and they come to a fair decision. Then they play a crucial role in the justice system as they encourage communication between both parties for ensure both claimants receive equal treatment. Waiting at the international arbitration process. Now a dispute, ladies and gentlemen, we refer to an impartial tribunal or a panel for a binding decision, often on the basis of international law. So according to Jeswal W. Salakius, Dean and Distinguished Professor Emeritus at Tufts University Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, fellow Sierra Leoneans, ladies and gentlemen, comrades all, we get the three pillars of international arbitration. Number one, now the New York Convention. Number two, now the UN Central Arbitration Rules. And number three, now the UN Central Model Law. The history, the scope, and application of this instrument in international arbitration. Waiting at the advantage of arbitration, when are the pros. Number one, a quicker for resolve. One of the biggest benefits of arbitration, now how quickly then they resolve disputes and how then they settle disputes. Number two, it gets a low cost. Arbitration is generally considered less expensive than going through the courts. Number three, now the confidentiality. Unlike court hearings, then arbitration procedures are private. Would that create arbitration? Arbitration, they don't use that as a dispute resolution tool for thousands of years. It get deep roots across a variety of settings, particularly in international and commercial contexts, and count among the proponents luminaries from King Solomon and George Washington to Rutger Godel. International Arbitration Award, they provide a conclusive resolution for cross-border dispute within a high degree of enforceability across different legal systems. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, arbitration they enable the parties them for avoid specific legal system of national court of particular jurisdiction where they be preferable for the parties, waiting on the principles of international arbitration. International arbitration na a sophisticated legal process wherein the claimant and the defendant they agree for resolve the dispute through a tribunal of one or more independent and impartial arbitrators there selected by or on behalf of the parties. This process they bypass domestic court entirely. Waiting at the process of international arbitration. After a hearing, the arbitrators they decide the dispute for the parties then in a final and binding award. The arbitration process is similar to a court process and could take months from beginning to end. The stages of arbitration they include number 1, the pleading stage, number 2, the disclosure stage, number 3, the witness evidence stage, number 4, the expert evidence stage, and finally the final hearing. So, fellow Sierra Leoneans, the electoral justice supporters will now be on the final stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the final hearing of the peaceful transition of power to Dr. Samura Matiwesi Kamara for be congratulated as the rightful winner of the June 24, 2023 presidential election as the new president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, waiting at the arbitrator. Arbitrators then, they usually now lawyers them, now business professionals them, or retired judges them with expertise in a particular field as impartial third party. Ladies and gentlemen, then then decide dispute between opposing parties. So arbitrators then they work alone or on a panel with other arbitrators. What do you mean by ADR? ADR for we listeners, they mean alternative dispute resolution. So Dr. Samura Kamara, instead of going to court, he choose the ADR system than the alternative dispute resolution mechanism. This is the way Dr. Samura Kamara choose when they sell out, reckless, betrayal, and brown envelope APC toxic leadership called Dr. Samura Kamara say he don't sell out. The man we then call sell out, till today, now he don't win the battle, so he stand tall and strong with the electoral justice and the people of Sierra Leone. The so-called non-sell out electoral thieves there. They say we know, but now move on and wait for 2028. This now the saying of a Jamaican reggae icon, when Peter McIntosh. He say every day people they talk about crime. So let them tell them, we are the criminals then, ladies and gentlemen. So today we don't see the political criminals then. The SLP people of our state looters, political Yampi, party leadership, the APC useless leadership, the APC unscrupulous parliamentary leadership, and some reckless sell-out diaspora leadership that they one day we put wheels out there so today for destroy the lives of 8 million people for their own selfish interests and political thievery. Fellow Sierra Leonean ladies and gentlemen, waiting at the difference between conciliation and arbitration. Ladies and gentlemen, the main difference. Arbitration they involve a neutral third party for render a legally binding decision after considering the arguments of both parties. While conciliation, it revolves around a mediator facilitating communication and negotiation for help the parties then for reach a mutually accepted or acceptable agreement. So the senseless Booker Washington then, the arbiters then, the electoral coupists then, the saboteurs then, the unpatriotic critic them, the political antagonists them, and enemies of Sierra Leone. The agreement for national unity, we born the tripartite committee, not a conciliation, but now international arbitration. When I see resolution 6, We say the findings and the recommendations of the tripartite committee shall be actionable and implementable, with both parties then sign the agreed upon and affix their signatures. Dr. Samara Kamara say, "Uno faint late." So what are the difference between foreign arbitration and international arbitration? The main difference between arbitration and international arbitration na the jurisdiction, than the way of judging. Domestic arbitration they occur within a single legal system, whereas international arbitration they involve parties then from different countries then and different legal proceedings then often involve multiple jurisdictions then. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leone, now I make inside the Sierra Leone arbitration, the international arbitration, when at the agreement for national unity, when at the tripartite committee, we get the ECOWAS as arbitrators, we get the AU, we get the United States, we get the European Union, we get the United Kingdom and United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, and we get the Commonwealth, and would that then facilitate all this arbitration will become an international arbitration. Now the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, when a peace commission enacted by Parliament, by the state Luther's political party, government, and the Republic of Sierra Leone. And would have head that commission, the Reverend Shodanke Elogima Johnson, will also double as the country director for the new Global Harvest Ministry. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean, God bless Sierra Leone. Long live the mighty, indomitable All People's Congress Party. Félicitations, Monsieur le Président, Son Excellence, le Docteur Samura Matthew Wilson, Blessed Grace Anointed Favor Liberator Kamara. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, je vous remercie beaucoup de me écouter, c'est-à-dire les gens oubliés, mais les parents de la victime n'oublient jamais. La vie est temporaire et la mort est inévitable. C'est-à-dire, ce que Dieu ne peut pas faire n'existe pas. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, je vous présente l'historienne et le rapporteur de APC Encyclopeadia.